Have you ever just stopped and wondered why really smart people, maybe even yourself, sometimes make, well, let's say, less than optimal choices, especially when money's involved or things get stressful?
It's a fascinating area, isn't it? And it often boils down to something beyond pure intellect. It's more about how our brains are wired. Maybe not perfectly wired for modern finance.
Right. And that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're looking at James Montier's book, The Little Book of Behavioral Investing.
Yeah, it's part of that Little Book, Big Profit series. Monty does a great job exploring these psychological pitfalls that investors often fall into.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack a few key insights from his work. The goal is really to help you recognize how your own mind might be playing tricks on you financially and, well, probably elsewhere too.
Absolutely. We'll touch on how our thinking works these sort of two systems in our head. We'll also look at why we get so hung up on past decisions.
Ah, the sunk cost thing.
Exactly, that one. And maybe surprisingly, why sometimes the absolute best thing you can do is, well, nothing at all.
Okay, let's start with those two systems. Montier talks about them, and I think you mentioned a kind of Star Trek analogy.
Yes. Think Dr. McCoy versus Mr. Spock.
Yeah.
You've got the X system, that's your McCoy. It's fast, emotional, automatic. It runs on instinct.
Like seeing a snake and jumping back instantly.
Precisely. You react before your conscious brain even catches up. It's that immediate gut feeling, survival stuff.
And the other one? The Spock.
That's the C system. Slow, logical, deliberate. It takes effort to engage this one. This is where you do the actual reasoning, the analysis.
Okay, makes sense. But the problem is?
The problem, or at least the challenge Montier points out, is how often that fast X system just takes over and overrides the C system. Our first reaction, the emotional one, often dictates what we do. We don't always pause for the logic check.
Is there a way to, see this in action?
Yeah, he uses something called the cognitive reflection task, the CRT. It's deceptively simple.
Give me an example.
Okay, try this. A bat and a ball cost $1.10 in total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost?
Right. Okay, the quick thought is 10 cents. Because, $1 plus 10 cents is a $1.10 thing.
That's the X system jumping in. It feels right. But is $1 actually a dollar more than 10 cents?
Oh, wait. No, it's 90 cents more. Okay, so if the ball is 5 cents, the bat is $1.05. That adds up to $1.10. And 1 over 5 is a dollar more than 5 cents. Wow.
Exactly. That was your C system kicking in and doing the logical work. And what Montier found is, well, even among really smart, educated people, very few get all the CRT questions right.
Really?
Yeah. And your score actually tends to correlate with how vulnerable you are to other biases. It shows how easily we default to that quick, intuitive answer unless we consciously slow down.
Okay, so that intuitive X system can lead us into traps. How does this connect to getting stuck on past decisions, like you mentioned, the sunk cost thing?
Right, the sunk cost fallacy. It's this powerful tendency we have to keep pouring resources. Could be money, could be time, effort into something, just because we've already put so much in, even if stopping is clearly the rational move now.
Like that classic business school example,
Yeah.
the airplane.
That's the one. Imagine you've spent $9 million of a $10 million budget on a new stealth plane project. You're 90% done. Then, bam, a competitor launches a plane that's way better, faster, and cheaper.
Logically, you should probably just stop, right? Cut your losses.
Rationally, yes. The $9 million is gone, it's sunk. The only question now is whether spending the last million is the best use of that million today compared to other options. But
you feel like you have to finish it because you're already so invested.
That's the trap. You feel compelled to spend that last million to not waste the $9 million. In investing, Montier links this to conservatism, sticking with your initial views or holdings too long because of the effort or cost you already put in. It's hard to admit the situation changed or you were wrong.
So what's the antidote? How do you fight that feeling?
He suggests the blank sheet of paper test. Imagine you have 0 shares, 0 involvement. Based purely on today's information and future prospects, would you invest in this right now?
So if the answer is no, then you should probably get out, regardless of the past.
That's the idea. Forget the past cost. Focus on the future potential. It's tough, though.
Yeah, cutting losses feels bad. Which kind of leads to the third point, doesn't it? This action bias. Why is doing nothing sometimes so hard?
It really is. Action bias is this almost primal urge to do something, anything, especially when things feel uncertain or maybe you're seeing poor results. Standing still feels wrong.
Like the soccer goalie example you mentioned.
Yeah, Montier used that one. Statistically, goalkeepers facing a penalty kick dive left or right something like 94% of the time.
Okay.
But the data shows a good chunk of penalties go towards the center, and goalies actually save a higher percentage of those center shots if they just stay put, compared to saving shots when they dive.
So why dive so often?
Because standing still and watching the ball fly past you feels terrible. It looks passive. Diving, even if it's the wrong way, at least feels like you tried, you took action. Psychologically, it's easier sometimes.
That's fascinating.
Oh,
And it's the
yeah.
total opposite of what people like Warren Buffett preach, right? The whole waiting for the right pitch idea.
Exactly. Buffett often talks about investing like baseball, referencing Ted Williams, who famously knew his sweet spot and wouldn't swing at pitches outside it, even if they were strikes. He waited for the fat pitch.
So, patience. Holding back until the really good opportunity comes along.
Precisely. You don't need to swing at everything. Waiting, holding cash, doing nothing strategically, it can feel uncomfortable, like you're not participating. But as Pascal apparently said, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone.
Or maybe Winnie the Pooh put it best. Never underestimate the value of doing nothing.
Ah, yes. Resisting that urge for action just for action's sake is key. Sometimes inaction is the smartest action.
So pulling this together, understanding these quirks, the Spock versus McCoy battle in our heads, getting trapped by past costs, that bias towards constant action, it seems crucial for making better decisions, especially financial ones.
It really is fundamental. And notice, it's less about gathering mountains of data. Montier even hints too much info can backfire. It's more about managing your own reactions. It's about having a sound process.
Right. A process to deal with your own psychology.
Yeah. Ben Graham, the father of value investing, said successful investing needs intelligence and sound principles, sure, but maybe most critically, it requires firmness of character, resisting these behavioral pulls.
So, thinking about these traps, the fast X system thinking, the sunk cost fallacy, the action bias, maybe take a moment and ask yourself, which of these feels like it might be the biggest hurdle for you personally? And how could you start building a process, just a small step maybe, to help navigate around that particular tendency?